Welcome back to another episode of Steven Says See or Skip. Today I'm going to be talking about the pilot for Hawk, which was released on July 16th, 2026 on Netflix. It is about a past his prime golfer named Lonnie Hawkins, and he is trying to relaunch his career while watching his son's career take off. It's supposed to be a comedy, and I guess it's also supposed to have like some heartfelt drama to it. It's definitely supposed to be fun, but not gonna lie, it didn't land for me. I'm giving this pilot a 1 out of 10. And honestly, that might be generous. The visuals in it have this sickly green tint. I mean, I don't know what they were going for with this look, but I noticed it almost immediately. There was this blue green tint in some of the scenes, and I don't know if it was supposed to be like golf course chic or some kind of washed out nostalgia, but it made me sick. It was distracting, it was unpleasant, and quite frankly, I don't think it helped serve the story. Now, for the sound, the only thing I really enjoyed was the thong song throwback, and it made me laugh. But the rest of the sound design, I don't know, it was very quiet. Maybe they were going for kind of a golf is quiet vibe, but because I think it's supposed to be a comedy, I don't know, it didn't work well. The silence creates this opposite effect. It feels like a comedian bombing at the funny bone. And I don't know, I felt uncomfortable kind of watching these jokes fail to land. And it wasn't just me. I watched it with the Lord of the Land, and even he was like, "This isn't funny." And he's usually a lot easier to get to laugh than I am. I mean, I think I laughed once, and I think he laughed twice. And I know Will Ferrell can be hit or miss, but for me here, the jokes didn't land. The pilot does have this Happy Gilmore vibe to it, but it doesn't have the same sense of humor and charm. And just there was this low energy that kind of dragged the whole thing down. It's a star studded cast, but I don't think the writing gives them much to work with. You know, I always say that pilot structures kind of follow one of four things, either a party, a problem, a mystery, or a tragedy. But in this case, I don't feel like Hawk did a very good job of this. They try to use a problem, which is Lonnie relaunching his career, but the energy is weird and unfocused. They then introduce a tragedy, which I don't want to spoil, but the way they handle it, it's almost immediately ignored and kind of pushed to the side. I guess that was supposed to be funny. It didn't work for me. Did it work for anyone else? Molly Shannon, in my opinion, was the best part of the pilot, and she's barely in it. She's funny, she's grounded, she's got this great energy, and that's Molly Shannon. She always brings to life whenever she's on screen. I thought Jimmy Tatro was fine. You know, I think he had limited scenes, limited script to work with. Fortune Feimster is a great comedian with a ton of acting credits, but this might be the biggest role I've ever seen her in, and I don't think it's written well. I think she deserves better material to work with. And honestly, Keith David, he plays the most relatable character in the entire pilot. He's the only one who feels like a real person, and then we barely get to spend any time with him. I I don't know. I think if you recast the show with unknowns, no one would watch this. The draw is the cast. People are hoping for some SNL magic. But if it does happen, it doesn't happen in the pilot. And then I even watched the second episode, and that wasn't much better. My favorite moment was when the thong song says, "Let me see that thong." I actually did laugh out loud. It was a funny scene, but it was the only time I laughed. And I'm sorry, I don't commit to a series where it's not that funny. They do have a random argument about Chili's versus Outback and who invented the bloomin' onion. So, fun to get these main chain restaurants a little advertising. Uh, but then they're like, oh, we're just going to go to Carrabba's. But I was surprised. I thought he would have said Olive Garden. Hawk says love is love and all that crap. I don't know, was that supposed to be funny? They talk about ride or die, and I guess that was supposed to be humorous as well, but I just didn't the joke didn't land. There is a line about buying a Milky Way next time you're about to lose your shit. Delicious beats bullshit every time. And to me, that just felt like the Snickers commercial that was like, you're not new you when you're hungry. So, I don't know. The show is full of success chasers, fame chasers, and cash chasers. All three of these personality types, I think, need therapy, in my opinion. And yeah, you get to see some of all three in the pilot. Unfortunately, Dogwatch didn't produce a dog. No dog shown. Honestly, thank God, no puppies were harmed in the creation of this pilot. There wasn't really any sex, some alcohol and drugs, no real violence. It's not family friendly, though. And honestly, it's not family funny. Skip this one. I mean, Molly Shannon signed onto the show without reading the script. She trusted Will Ferrell and Harper Steele enough that she didn't need to read it to say yes. I kind of wish she had. The PGA partnered with the production to try to make the golf settings feel authentic, and I guess they do. I'm not a golfer, but you know, maybe a golfer would love this, and I'm like missing the boat. This does mark the third time that Luke Wilson and Will Ferrell will have worked together, and this is Will Ferrell's first scripted TV series that he's starring in. So, sometimes the first time you do something, it's like the first pancake, and you need to throw it out. I gotta say, I'm giving Hawk a 1 out of 10. I recommend skipping it. And this is Steven with Steven Says See or Skip, asking the question, what's the worst Will Ferrell performance you've ever seen? Hawk wins that title for me, hands down.